Hello guys, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to everyone and all my replay viewers that check this out later on. Hello, if this is your first time with me, my name is Keely and I am the owner of Love Hope Adventure. Thanks so much for joining me. I'm glad you guys are on today. I wanted to talk to you today about cell phone etiquette with your spouse. Should you read their messages? Is there such thing as privacy in marriage? How do you handle that? This is something that we really have to work through in our culture because everyone has a cell phone and most of us have Facebook attached to it, Hangouts or Skype or any number of communication methods. And so many people are starting text relationships with people. Maybe they don't even know these people, or maybe they hardly know these people. And so our communication with the opposite sex or with other people has really shot through the roof. And so many couples out there have gotten into trouble because of text relationships. They start flirting in these relationships and it leads to affairs or to other just inappropriate things in the marriage. So the question is, should you read your spouse's messages? How do you handle the cell phone situation in your marriage? And what do you do if you suspect that they are having an inappropriate relationship with someone else? Well, first of all, I think your ground rules with your spouse really needs to be that you do have open. Yes, I am married. I've been married for 12 years. Just a little bit of background about me. My husband and I dated when we were 16. We dated for 5.5 years. Then we got married, and we've been together in marriage for 12 years. So we have a very long-term relationship, and we were dating long before texting and all that complicated things. I didn't even like technology really when it first started coming out, and my husband had to convince me to get a touchscreen cell phone. So this has only been an issue in the last couple of years for us, just having to work through how to handle cell phones and that kind of etiquette. But first of all, I think you have to have an open, oh wow, good job on you guys, 20 years, awesome. You got to have an open policy with your phone to your spouse. Now, that doesn't mean that your spouse needs to just pick up your phone at any moment whatsoever because they have permission to look through it and start looking at everything you've ever done on your phone. I don't think that that shows trust to them, but you do need to establish that you have the ability to look at their phone if need be. So if you're driving down the road and somebody texts you, and you need to be able to say to your spouse, hey, could you see who that is? I'm not saying you have to, but that needs to be the ground rules. The ground rules are, if you want to see my phone, you can see my phone. It doesn't mean that the other spouse should pick it up without your permission, though. I think that is really important, because what if your spouse is ordering something for you from Amazon and it came through their email, and now you're reading their emails and you're seeing all this stuff? So, I mean, there does have to be that privacy. And just general common courtesy. Maybe I want to look up something so I can surprise my husband. Or maybe I have a question about something that I want to talk to him about later, but I don't need him looking through my history. Or possibly my best friend, maybe I just spent like a few minutes ranting about a problem that I'm having with him. Do I really want him reading what I just said to my friend? Not necessarily. Now, does that mean he shouldn't ever read that or shouldn't have access to it? No, I'm just saying that sometimes it's not a good idea for us to look at our spouse's phones. Not because we're trying to hide things from them, but because it's just common courtesy. You know, we need privacy. I want my husband to be able to have a conversation of something that he doesn't like about me with his friend, and I don't want to know what that conversation was. He needs to be able to get those things out so we can keep on with our relationship. It wouldn't be a good idea for me to read his text messages or emails to that friend. See what I'm saying? But I think that you do have to have that open door policy. If I were to, and I've not ever felt my husband was doing this, by the way, but if I were to ever suspect that he was having an inappropriate relationship with someone through his phone, I would ask him if I could see it. If he hid it from me and wouldn't let me look at it, or was constantly hiding his phone away from me, that would be a very different situation. And he doesn't do that, so I don't have to worry about it. But I know that there are a lot of couples out there that do. There are a lot of couples out there where one spouse constantly is hiding the phone, maybe deleting messages. Maybe they're just having a lot of conversations with someone that you don't feel comfortable with them having, and so now you're worried. Well, what do you get to do in that situation? I think the first thing you need to do is go and talk to your spouse about it. Ask permission to read their phones. If they refuse to let you, then you guys have a problem. Now there are secrets between you. Does that mean you just rip the phone from their hands and look at it anyway? I don't necessarily think so. I think you kind of have your answer that there is a problem in your marriage, and it doesn't even matter if you go look through the phone. There's a problem. They stopped communicating with you. Now you have to address that. So in our marriages, we do need to have that open book policy of looking at our spouse's phones, but also just giving them the common courtesy that we're not going to read every message that they ever send. But if we do feel concerned that they are getting into a bad situation with somebody, that we have permission, that we ask permission to look at their phone and to really go through it with them. So it's best if you never resort to the sneaking around with one another as much as possible, because if you're going and getting their phone and sneaking around in it without letting them know, it's no different than them sneaking around with their phone and doing things that they don't want you to see. Communication needs to happen. Thank you guys for joining me today. That's about all I had to say about this. I do hope that you will join me on lovehopeadventure.com, where I have a lot of marriage tips. And right now I have a giveaway going for 25 questions you're afraid to ask about love, sex, and intimacy. If you will go on to lovehopeadventure.com/periscope, I will upload a link to where you can sign up to for this giveaway. The giveaway date I'll announce on December the 22nd, the winner. So you have until then to sign up. And I look forward to seeing you guys over there, and I will talk with you tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me.